All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol Nndm, Nano Dimensions. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back, and we're going to jump into this chart. But before I jump into Nano Dimensions and we cover it overall, we're going to look at this closely because we're going to look at our resistance, our support, the 50-day moving average, and we have an announcement, right? The fact that ARK Invest continues to load up on their shares. I honestly, personally thought today that Nano Dimensions was not going to load up on shares. I thought that for some reason, today they were just watching to see if it leveled off and if it was going to go to newer lows. Because when you look at the MACD here, and we're going to pull it up so we can see it together, you could see that the MACD has slightly fallen. It looks like it's leveled off and coming back up, but it can continue. But we got to see here because there's some dark green bars forming, and if they form up like this, there could be a slight run, but we still have to watch for that. There's still a lot of other indicators to look at. This is just one I like to use. It doesn't mean that it's perfect and that it's going to tell you what's going to happen next. When you put a lot of different indicators together, you can kind of have a sense of probably how the market's going to move, right? Nobody can predict the market, but you can use indicators to indicate what is going on and also showing you how the orders are being done and who's dominating. So in this slight section here, right, bulls are appearing and pulling it up a little bit, and this has to continue to pull up and meet the middle happy medium, right? The middle ending of everything to the midway section. And once it breaks through that, you can actually start to see the stock go up. Once it breaks through it and it starts ending up like in these highs here that you could see when it was starting, and then when the first dark green bars started to show up and it started to grow, you can see here how it was going upwards, and you can see how the stock reacted. So super important to keep these things in mind. Right now, the question is, could the bulls pull this back up? We're going to look at it real closely in just a moment. And the fact that the MACD is showing that it fell. It's actually below that medium point, and it still has some work to do to work its way up. And we're going to have to see if the bulls can actually take advantage here and look at these new points. So let's go ahead and move this to its new support. We're going to move it to its new resistance. And then we're going to look at how much ARK Invest has actually purchased today. It's big news because for ARK Invest to continue to load up on shares, like I keep saying, that means that there's room here. They believe in the stock. They believe there's room for value. I found it interesting that they've been buying a lot below $7. Like every time they have a chance, they're buying. So let's look here how much, right, the ARK Invest ETF gained from yesterday to today. So we'll see here right now. So here we are. This was Nano Dimensions yesterday on the 15th. I know I'm doing this video a little bit late, but I was busy doing other videos, and then here I am with this video. So here we are with Nano Dimensions from yesterday, and we're going to look at what it was for today, the 16th. Well, actually yesterday, but today's trading day and videos. So here we are with the 15th, and they were at 4,013,000. I knew they were going to pass 4 million as they were getting closer to it, and they passed the 3.5 million mark, and we're going to see how much they went up by. They didn't go up by much, right? It was about 32,000 shares, but 32,000 shares is 32,000 shares added to the portfolio, you know? So here we are. The value, the market value keeps going down. Why? Because the stock has been going down, and Nano Dimensions actually has added, right, another 32,000 shares here. ARK Invest has added to their Nano Dimensions section another 32,000 shares. So what does that mean for the stock? I think that Nano Dimensions, based off of ARK Invest analysis, is seeing room here for growth. They're not too worried about the pullback. And there's been articles out there. If you look it up, there's an article talking about how bearish Nano Dimensions might be. And when you look at this a little bit further out, it is going in a downward direction. I've been talking about the peaks falling down, and then it hit this peak and it's falling down. The question is, will it rise back up slightly and maybe break through the 50-day moving average or miss it and do another peak. And if it does that, that's something we need to watch. It does another peak and then it starts to fall and it does another peak. Silently, this is on its way down to newer lows, actually making it seem like it's coming back up every time, but every time it's hitting a newer low. And when you realize it, it's moving, but it's moving up and down, up and down, up and down in a downward direction. Doesn't mean that it's going to continue. It's just actually behaving that way since these highs up here where it missed the $8 mark by a few cents, right? $7.97, $7.98, give or take. And from that point forward, this has been falling. Yes, there was an offering that happened here and it brought it down. It was that Friday and that Monday. Offering closed out on Wednesday on the 9th. And from that point forward, it's been falling. I talked in my previous video that Nano Dimensions wasn't the only stock falling. The S&P 500 was falling even on those days. And even though Nano Dimensions is not in the S&P 500 index, it can have an indirect correlation overall because it's a tech stock and the S&P 500 index has an effect on the market overall no matter what type of stock it is. It came back up and it's now falling, right? We're below the 50-day moving average. I mean, we got a lot of things to see here. But the fact that Nano Dimensions keeps getting bought by ARK Invest, I think that's something that should show investors how bullish ARK Invest is, because I always say it. When you buy a stock at $6 and it goes down, for example, and I'm not using Nano Dimensions, I know it's at $6, so let's use a different number so nobody says I jinxed it. But you buy a stock at $7 and it falls down to, I don't know, $5. When you feel comfortable because the stock's going to go back up, what you do is you buy at $5 to average down, right? And once you average down, your average cost isn't anymore $7. It turns into the midway point. If you bought the same amount of shares that you bought exactly at $7 and the same amount at $5 exactly, your midway point would be $6. It averages out close to that area. Now, why would ARK Invest, right, keep on making their position larger, right? It just moved from the 15th from 4,013,000 to 4,045,000 on the 16th. And what's happening is Nano Dimensions has been bought by ARK Invest way back in these numbers back here. These lows here, when it was running up, when it fell, they've been buying way down here. They're not averaging down their cost. They're averaging up their cost every single time. Like if they didn't buy a single stock to this point, they would be profiting a large amount. But the reason why they keep adding to their portfolios because they see more room. If you're a bullish investor and you think long term and you want to take the risk, because there is a lot of risk with this one, and just because ARK Invest keeps buying, it doesn't mean that ARK Invest is the holy grail of Nano Dimensions. But to see obviously an institution and adding it to their ETF more and more, and they haven't sold and they just keep buying, it's not just one investor or one mind making this decision. It's a group collectively. So that indicates something, in my opinion. I think that you guys would agree as well with that. So it's pretty interesting to me to see this being bought by ARK Invest, whether it's 10,000, 30,000, 100,000, 50,000, or 300,000 shares all at once, which is what they've been kind of buying over time in the last 2 weeks. And one time they did buy like 300,000 shares at once. That indicates something. And every time they buy, their average is going up, no matter where they buy right now. Even if they were to buy at $4, they would be averaging up. They've been buying since $2. So they see a lot of room. And for them to keep making their stake larger and their market value goes down every time they make it larger because they keep averaging up, that means that they see bigger than what the chart is showing right now. I mean, that's the only thing that can make sense. And the fact that they just keep loading up on shares. I find that interesting. So let's see here. The 50-day moving average is 652. The bulls definitely have to break through that. I want every single investor to be aware of that, so this can end up back in bullish territory and hit newer highs. But before getting there, we have our resistance and support to look at. It's currently at 630, and let's see here, what is our support? Our support is 615. If 615 gets broken through, I'd pay very close attention to how the stock's reacting, how quickly is it moving to newer lows, and your next support to kind of have an indicator is 603. I've been talking about that support. It was touched previously here, and also, well, actually the one down here was 601, excuse me. 603 was the one pretty close right now before this run. Now, 603 gets broken through, or $6 or 601 in that area, whichever one of those support levels do get broken through, you want to pay very close attention to how the stock is reacting. How quickly is it moving to newer lows? And between 615, which is the most important support level right now, and those numbers down there at 603 and 601, you want to pay close attention if the bulls are trying to reappear, or are the bears tearing this one down fairly quickly? Because now we're moving further away from the 50-day moving average and hitting newer lows. Now, on the other hand, we have our resistance. Our resistance is 633. 633 needs to be turned into a support by the bulls, and it means that the bulls are getting closer to their goal to pull away and get closer to the 50-day moving average. But 633 being broken through and turned into a support does not signify or guarantee that the bulls are getting back over the 50-day moving average into bullish territory. This is just an indicator to let us know where this is heading and the beginning catalyst for the bulls to pull away from and get closer to their goal, which is the 50-day moving average. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share it with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.